Allison. Today we're going to talk about how to trust your path when life feels completely uncertain. This is a thing that we all want. We all want to know, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I going the right direction? Am I just wasting my time? If you want to understand how to trust your path when life feels completely uncertain, stick around because I'm going to kind of show you what that's even saying, what it's implying, and what do we do in this situation. So if you've ever felt like, I just don't know if I'm doing the right thing. How do I know that I'm not messing it all up? How do I know I'm on the right path? How do I know I'm not wasting my time? How do I know that what I'm doing is correct? If you ever felt like any of those things, you're in the right place. By the end of these 15-ish minutes, you'll know what is happening inside of your brain that's creating this uncertainty and fear and lack of trust, self-doubt, and what do you do with it specifically in really practical ways. I have had many times in my life where I didn't know if I was doing the right thing. I didn't know which direction to even go. The whole idea of how do I know if I'm going the right way? How do I trust my path? It was so unclear. It was just really obscure because it's like, well, it could be this or it could be this. I could go that way or I could go that way. And I think that has something to do with some of us are wired with very specific energy. It's almost like the energy is designed within them to have more feelings of solidity, whereas some people feel like they could go a lot of different directions. Like I could go this way, I could go that way. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've gone a lot of different ways, and it's hard for me to know what's right and what's wrong and what's correct and what's not correct and which should I do, because I have so much openness to be able to see myself in multiple kinds of scenarios, right? So I am that kind of a person. And for me, this always made me feel like I needed to grab on to feelings of certainty. Like, well, what's the right way to do it? So when I was younger, it was following my parents. It was following a very specific religious structure. And then I knew I was doing the right thing. I was going the right way and all would be well, right? That didn't work out quite that way because it doesn't ever work that way. And I think that that's all of our own journey to discover. But when we think in these terms of being in the right or being in the wrong, and am I going the right way or am I not? And what do I do with this feeling of I'm uncertain and I'm not sure, and how are these things going to turn out? I don't know. Whenever we start to have those kinds of questionings that happen in our life, we will get a lot of different kinds of answers. I feel like there are so many different kinds of answers. Some of them are, if you're in the religious arena, they are very much like, well, you do what God tells you to do. You go the direction that God says, and then you know that you can trust it because that's what's being told to you. Other people might say, well, you trust certain approaches. You trust this path versus this path, especially when we see this in entrepreneurship and business. Well, you have to do it this way. It looks like this. You do these things and it gets you this outcome, and this is how you know, and this is how you trust. What's the problem with that? The problem with that is we don't know outcomes. We can't read the future. We're not omnipotent. We don't know for certain that these exact things, if I follow it, the way that I was taught in my upbringing of it's going to look like this, this, and this, you don't actually know that in your particular circumstance, with your wiring, with your kinds of sensitivities, with the way your brain and heart work, you don't know that that's a repeatable outcome just because someone else told you. So that's the problem with this, right? So what do? Where do we put our trust? Where do we find certainty that our body so desperately wants when things can really be up in the air about how they will happen? So let's draw this out. This is so much easier to see when we draw it out. Let's say that this is you. And you are looking at a path. You're saying, well, is this going to give me what I want? Is it going to look like how I want it to go? Is that going to work for me? And you're thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to take the right steps, right? I'm going to do this step, and then I'm going to get to this step. and then I'm going to get to this step and this step, and then if I keep following all the steps right, maybe I will have more certainty in what I'm doing, and I will know like this is going to be the final outcome. This is going to be what I'm going to get, and I won't just be wasting my time because I'm very certain that I'm on the right path. Well, so the big question is, how do you know? How do you know that you're on the right path? Is there any way to know? No, there's no way to know. There's only how other people have walked a path before with their particular personality, with their particular wirings, with the way that they have worked with information, and how they have then processed that information in different ways and how it got them to that point. We don't know. We can't say, I'm going to plan out and map out my entire steps so that I know without a shadow of a doubt that I'm going to get what I want, because that is not the way that it works as a human. As a human, you're not designed to predict very detailed, specific outcomes that are repeatable, that will always happen that way. You're designed to move. You're designed to move and to learn and to adapt and to navigate and shift and grow. That's the way you're designed as a human, because you're not a robot. It's not about being like, do, 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 and then I will get there. It's about saying, actually, the outcome, like this, is not something that I am meant to grip and control and get exactly perfectly right. My entire job is to have a stewardship over who I am, over the information inside of me, and work with it and adapt with it so that I can move and navigate. What do I mean by this? I mean, we are so focused on the external. We are so focused on knowing things that are not ours to know. They're ours to interact with. Like, we interact with information. You take this step here and then you interact with it. And then you take this step here and you interact with it. And then maybe you find yourself like actually kind of shifting this way because something here wasn't quite right, didn't fit quite right. And so now you get this information and you interact with that. Well, what does that require? That requires something to interact with, which is this. It's actually not about certainty in precision in our results and our outcomes. It's about relationship. It's about relationship with information that we come into, with things that we choices that we make, which then can build on themselves into decisions. It's a relationship with the unknown, right? Like, maybe if like I come over here and I'm like, I really don't know. This is a totally unknown space. It's our relationship with that unknown space. It's our relationship with what we even think the outcome is. And it's our relationship with ourself. These are all things that we are relating to each other. When we're working with information, especially information that we don't know, it's like unknown or not certain yet, or maybe we just know like a little piece and we can do a next right step. The way that we work with that information is not to say, I need to gather all the advice externally, or all the, opinions externally, so that I can sort it all and make sure I'm going the right way and doing the right thing, because that's outside of you. Those are all out here. Those are other people's voices, other people's thoughts, maybe your parents' voices and thoughts, maybe your religious backgrounds, voices and thoughts. It's all external to you. It can influence you. It can be something that you bring in pieces as like a sounding board, but it's not you. Only you can inhabit here. They can't inhabit here. Only you can interact with pieces of information, with unknown spaces, with potential outcomes. So how do we do that? We have to first say, okay, inside of this circle of my stewardship, this is the only place where I can find the feelings of trust and of certainty. They're not in like knowing I did the right things with my beautiful glitter dipped brain. It's not in convincing my brain that I'm doing it all right. It's actually in the relationship that I have with all the information inside of here, which has to do with the thoughts I'm thinking, the way I'm feeling, the sensations that are happening inside of my body, my deep, heartfelt soul desires, maybe even knowing what those are, my yeses and my nos, my this or that feeling inside of me, not with my brain, but with my body. That's where I find the feeling of trust and certainty. So, what I mean by this is the more we befriend this inner world, the more we can come up to any individual part of our path and be in the moment with it. And then we can say, okay, how am I interacting with this information? Does it feel like, oh, yeah, I like this. Yummy. I want to keep going. Or does it feel like, I don't know. I'm kind of confused and clouded and I'm not really sure. That's the information you look at right there. It's not about like going to your brain and being like, oh, I know, I have to figure it out, because that's not where it is. The information is actually a navigation system inside of you. You're given a navigation inside of you, and it's not about predicting the whole path. It's about it's about taking the next step based on how you are relating with it. So if your body's like, I don't know, it feels like I have this deeper desire and I can feel like I want this, and also I'm kind of scared, that's information to work with, because all we're doing here is learning to evolve this space into a higher state of consciousness, into a more aligned state of our soul, of our heart, of our moving as a unit within inside of ourselves. So we're not fighting ourselves. Like, the goal is to not fight yourself. The goal is to become more and more unified. What happens when you start to approach life like this is that you start to take every single day and every single moment as this game. It's like a game of playing with, okay, what's going on inside of me? Am I thinking something? Am I feeling something that conflicts with this? Am I wanting something at a deeper level that I'm avoiding or not paying attention to? What are all the different sensations and feelings inside of here, and taking ownership over it, so you start to become the queen, the king over this domain, and then that becomes a piece that is like a fully operating, well-oiled machine. The more you get good at this, which then interacts with all these pieces outside of it in this dance. And so then the pieces that are external, this is the second part. This is where it gets a little spiritual, and I like it. I love it. The pieces that are outside of us, they're not just like, it's not just, oh, we can't control anything and life's out of our hands and the only thing I can control is my attitude. It's not quite that simple. It's more that you need to learn what's yours and your power and your domain, and then what's God's. So the things that are outside of here, and you can use the word God, you can use the word love, universe, higher power, it doesn't matter. All the things outside of here are in that realm. And so what you're doing then is you're bringing your framework of structure, of supervision, of guardianship over your own choices, your own thoughts, your own interaction with information. And then the rest of it is in your partner's realm, God's realm. That's where you dance. It's a partner dance. Life is a partner dance. And you learn to trust the dance instead of the specificity of outcomes, right? And you learn to find certainty in the play and in the choices and in the learnings and in the growings, instead of certainty in, did I do it exactly right? Do you see what I'm saying? It's a totally different way to live than living in these little boxes of, am I doing it right or am I doing it wrong? Because those are so detached from what you actually have any power over. Like, that's old programming, and it's not going to be useful for you. This the dance, the play, the ownership. This is how you start to teach your system to feel trust, to feel certainty, to just be human, living and moving and trying and doing different things. And it just becomes a game. It is the coolest game ever. So, what I gave you today is kind of like a big zoomed out view, like a big overview of how all these concepts work together. Um, Obviously, there's a lot to it, right? Which is why it's so powerful when you work with a coach, because you can get into the weeds, you can get into the details of, well, what is inside of here that I have ownership of? What am I not seeing? What does someone else see that I can't see? And then where are the places that I'm trying to take control of things that aren't mine? So that's what we do when we work together, is we dive into all of those details together. There's so much to see. There's so much play to be had. It's really just such an exciting thing. So if you are interested in anything like this, with working with me as a coach to find out how your life is operating and how to make it be really like big and beautiful and exciting and much lighter and less gripping and control, I want you to invite you to click the link in the description below. I have a calendar booking that you can choose a one-on-one time slot for, and we will have a chat about my mentorship program and see if it's a fit for you. You don't have to do it alone. You don't. You can. I encourage you to please do the work regardless, but you don't have to do it alone. So make sure that you book a call if you want to find out more about that. It is totally free. And I do only work with a few committed women at a time. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you click it and book your call. So remember, when you're feeling like you don't know how to feel in control or certain, or like you're doing something right, or you don't know how to trust yourself or your path, it's not about that. It's about a play and a dance and an ownership over what's yours, and a release into what's not, with a releasing into, it's a game, it's a play, it's a back and forth, and there's relationship in it. It's not just about these ultimate results, it's about the relationship between me and all the things, and that is what it means to be human. Okay? So if you want to see more drawings or more ways in which I look through all these informations and these pieces that our hearts and our minds struggle with, I welcome you to check out the rest of my channel. I've got another video that is dear to my heart called How to Feel Grounded When Your Body Feels Foreign. That dives into some details here about, reestablishing some of this most obvious relationships that we have with ourselves. You can go check that out. I've got others on our nervous system and, big viewpoint of our minds and our brains and how it all works together. So I invite you to look at that. I'm very curious to hear about your experience with this, and don't forget to check the description for the link and book a call, and I will be back for more drawings and more support to help you connect your smart brain to your wise body so you can live happy, strong, and free.